Mark Thompson Show.
Culture Blaster, what do you have for us today?
Well, one thing I'll say, which is a shocker, this may be the first time I didn't come and go on a rainbow.
Oh, my God. I knew I was forgetting something. God almighty. I do not.
Not that I'm offended.
I was distracted. He comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for the Culture Blaster?
Now we're talking, it's the Ides of March. One of the things that one of the guests we had last night brought up, I said, hey, it's Pie Day, because it was 314. Sure. And, of course, after the meet and greet, I went to Blaze Pizza to get my $3.14 pizza. Yeah. And there was a line that went up down the block, and I was like, yeah, no, I think Kung Pao chicken tonight. But anyway, it is the Ides of March. Yeah. And as a Shakespearean scholar, I want to say, watch your back, number one.
I have the Ides of March pencil and pen holder.
This is a great day to invite an enemy over to your house and make use of that set of Ginsu steak knives on your kitchen counter. I will be having a Caesar salad at lunch in honor of Julius, and I will be eating it with a fork, no other cutlery necessary. Too dangerous on March 15th. Anyway, I thought that I would lead off this Culture Blast with a list of the movies that I am not going to review today, because we get so many options. You know, you've got to pick and choose. You know, you leave it to me, Mark, right? You generally say, Michael, whatever you want to do,
yes, sir.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's say what I'm not going to review. Let's kick it off with Arthur the King, which Kim already mentioned in her box office report.
By the way,
earlier.
your glamour picture of you eating chocolate ice cream or something is up there now, and I don't even know. I don't know that it looks better, but all right.
Here I am emulating President Biden with my love of ice cream.
I see. Very good.
Anyway, Arthur the King is a purportedly feel-good, inspirational movie about a pro-adventure racer, whatever that is, played by Mark Wahlberg, who develops a relationship with a scruffy mutt named Arthur when the dog accompanies the racer and his crew on a journey lasting hundreds of miles. They lost me at Wahlberg. I almost went back because of the dog, but I went, no. Okay, here's another one I decided not to review.
So you did see the movie, but you've decided not to review.
No, I didn't see. These are things I went like,
just passed on
just don't have the time.
Okay.
The Neon Highway. Now, this was a little more provocative. It's about a down-on-his-luck singer-songwriter and a washed-up country star played by Beau Bridges, who head back to Nashville together to give the music biz one last go. If the country star had been played by Jeff Bridges, I might have watched, but they already made and released that movie. It was called Crazy Heart. It was great, and there is no way in hell this new one would be anywhere near as good. Okay, let's see. So no Neon Highway. French Girl. French is my second language.
I can't believe, and girl is one of your favorite topics.
Yeah, very much. So it's a rom-com about a jerk of a middle school teacher played by Zach Braff, who jeopardizes his dream relationship because he doesn't trust his current and perfect girlfriend, who is a gourmet chef, played by Evelyn Brochu. And an old and manipulative girlfriend, played by Vanessa Hudgens, comes back into his life. I don't have to see this to say, screw that guy, number one, messing up his relationship. Number two, boy, does this sound tired. All right, finally, the fourth movie I decided to pass on, Irish Wish. Now, St. Patty's Day is coming up on Sunday.
Jen, you're a big one for that.
Seems like a great weekend. It's on Netflix. It's a fantasy rom-com, like, aren't they all? Seriously. And it stars, Lindsay Lohan as a woman who decides to be the bigger person and a bridesmaid when the love of her life is about to marry her best friend at a lavish wedding in Ireland.
Wow.
But a last-minute wish apparently complicates matters. I wish they stopped making movies like this.
Oh, Michael, that's so sad. It looks to me like they're happy and they're young kids with a dream.
Yeah, no. Anyway, in one of those rare bits of synchronicity that occur now and then, the three most significant movies that I'm covering today, even if we mention these in passing, these each address the ugliness of bigotry and prejudice, albeit in very different circumstances and milieus.
Okay.
The best film to be released this week is also the most important, as it is yet another reminder of the horrors that humanity can unleash in the name of nationalism and the acquisition of power, as fueled by bigotry and heedless cruelty. One Life is an intermittently wrenching, ultimately uplifting docudrama about Nicholas Nicky Winton, a London stockbroker who visits Prague in December of 1938, right before the Nazis are going to occupy Czechoslovakia. and close the border. So with the clock ticking, Winton spearheads an effort to rescue as many children, predominantly Jewish kids, as possible, getting them to England while it still can be done, even as the Nazi menace is ramping up. One Life is graced by a finely tuned and quietly moving performance by Anthony Hopkins as its centerpiece.
Wow.
Although it feels in places like a standard issue World War II era historical drama, it does benefit from its time-shifting biopic elements with Johnny Flynn, who I believe played Bowie in a docudrama a few years back, here playing Nicky as an idealistic young man, and Hopkins playing Winton in his twilight years, a retiree pained by memories of the tragedy that spurred and plagued his efforts and haunted by the regret for those he failed to save. So as both ends of the story play out, they dovetail by the conclusion of One Life, and there should not be a dry eye cast upon it at that point.
Wow.
Hopkins and Flynn are aided on screen by a fine company that includes, get ready, Helena Bonham Carter, as Nicky's mother in the flashbacks, and Lena Olin as Winton's wife in the sequences with the elder Nicky. Director James Hawes oversees this heartfelt screenplay by Lucinda Coxon and Nick Drake, not the late singer-songwriter, which the screenwriter is based on a biography of Winton written by his daughter Barbara. So besides the continually relevant idea that fascism is bad, the movie's most resonant message is really simple. One man and one life can make a difference. I thought this was a very good film.
I remember this story. It's a powerful one. I mean, you realize just what you've said, which is that at this time of pending Nazi occupation, certain death for these Jewish kids, that he was able to make a difference, and a big difference at that.
And again, the climax of the film is beautiful and very, very touching. Okay, I so wanted the American Society of Magical Negroes to be great. That's the title, honestly. Or at least I wanted it to be very good. So from the title alone, I expected something boldly satirical and fearless in its refusal to kowtow to political correctness, as it skewers stereotypes and pokes fun at prejudice with the intent of undermining institutional and generational racism. This is my perception of this title. And I do believe that screenwriter and director Kobe Libby tried to do those very things, sometimes successfully, in the American Society of Magical Negroes. Man, what a mouthful. And that suggests the existence of the title organization dedicated to making white people feel comfortable around black people by supernatural means, the source of which is never clearly explained. The idea is, let's nip violence in the bud, right? Violence and hatred. But the movie seems to lose sight of what it wants to achieve because it just doesn't seem clear on it. And while this elaborate shadow world and fuzzy backstory don't quite hold together, there are moments, It does score a few knockout punches, it unleashes a few pointed and very funny gags, and benefits from a very impressive lead performance from Justice Smith as Aaron, who's a naive 20-something biracial artist whose blackness compels him to be wary and deferential to white people. And there's also very genial supporting work from In Living Color cast member and the veteran actor from The Color Purple and They Clone Tyrone, and the recent Oscars announcer, David Alan Grier. Here he plays Roger, who recruits Aaron to be a member of the secret society, and he also serves as Aaron's mentor. So over the course of one assignment at a tech company that provides some all too familiar moments of spoofage, Aaron finds himself falling for a woman who is meant to end up with the a-hole white tech bro that Aaron is assigned to mollify. So there's a bit of a rom-com here amid the social satire. So I may be in the minority, and again, I think that the movie wasn't successful in achieving all its goals, but I did like enough elements of it that I ended up wishing it had been better as a whole. And I think it's worth watching, if only to get to a speech by Smith at a crucial moment that really gutted me. I mean, Smith was very good in, among other things, the con artist crime drama Sharper and the sword and sorcery romp Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. But this monologue was a whole nother level.
Wow.
Anyway, if you're interested, and again, it's problematic, the American Society of Magical Negroes is in theaters.
Okay. Wow. You liked it.
I did.
Qualified.
Qualified liked it, yeah. Okay, how about the movie I liked the most? And there's actually a subtext here that's going to appeal to you, Mark.
All right.
As much as I admired One Life, my favorite movie of this week's segment is The Animal Kingdom.
Oh?
A very wild, and that's literally wild, sci-fi drama from France with subtitles in English, starring one of France's most prolific leading men, Romain Duris.
Prolific's a ding word.
Featuring one of the country's most daring actresses, Adele Exarchopoulos. I think that's it, Exarchopoulos. Right. Adele was in Blue is the Warmest Color. She's done a lot of good work. And by the way, provides an appropriately French accented voice to a new emotion character in Pixar's Inside Out 2, coming out soon. She voices, and boy, is this appropriate, Ennui. So the French actress is doing the voice of Ennui. I love that.
I get it.
Anyway, so in The Animal Kingdom, which is directed and co-written by Thomas Caillet, an unexplained plague has beset humanity. Certain people are uncontrollably mutating into hybrid creatures that are, at first, part human, part animal.
Wow.
But the fear is that the animal part will gain dominance. So Duris plays Francois, a cook whose wife, Lana, has succumbed to the mutation, and though he's tried to help her retain her human side, he finally agrees to have her transferred to a rural center for treatment, and accompanied by their 16-year-old son, Emile, played by Paul Kersher, he moves to the town where the center is located. Only the bus transporting the wife and other mutates crashes on the way to the center.
Oh,
and
no.
The creatures who survive the crash hightail it into the woods.
Oh.
In short order, they're pursued by cops, including a sympathetic one played by Exarchopoulos, and government troops who want to corral the Beastie Bunch. Now, Francois and Emile need to look for Lana while trying to fit into their new town, which, as a microcosm of society in the movie, has plenty of people who fear and hate what they refer to as critters. Although it doesn't get too deep into its themes, The Animal Kingdom does reflect the racism, xenophobia, panic about infectious diseases, and cruelty to animals that continue to plague the real world. So the whole idea of these people being transformed into animals and humans disdaining them or thinking them as lesser does actually, I think, resonate with you, Mark.
Absolutely. No, good, right. We do not afford them the same respect that we do other human beings.
Hey, by the way, The Animal Kingdom was not only an opening night feature at last year's Cannes Film Festival, it won 4 Césars, and that's the French Oscar, including Best Cinematography, Best Visual Effects, and Best Sound. And that quality is in evidence throughout The Animal Kingdom. It's in select theaters and available to stream on demand right now at the usual digital platforms.
Oh, that's intriguing. I think I would like to, and especially since it's your favorite. Yeah.
Of the 3, yeah. I believe.
Oh, no, of the 3. I mean, it's not of all the movies of the season.
One Life is more important. Magical Negroes is flawed. The Animal Kingdom is in my sweet spot.
Got it.
So, quickly, I want to talk. We haven't mentioned this on the air, but it's the final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes, sir.
Larry David's Dare to Be Obnoxious masterpiece of situation comedy with him playing a messed up version of himself that I hear is not too far off the real thing, by the way. and Ted Danson playing a fictional version of himself. And my old pal, Richard Lewis, the Prince of Pain, who we lost, unfortunately, a week or so ago, playing a version of himself. And probably his final work on screen was an episode fairly recently, which I think was called Disgruntled, which was absolutely on fire. And I'll
have to go back and check it out. I remember he's done so much good work in that series. And clearly, David lets him run. It gives him a lot of room, so they must have been very close.
They were very tight. Apparently, they went to school together when they were kids, or they went to camp together. It's a long-term, and they had a very combative relationship as kids, and eventually on the New York comedy circuit, they ended up thawing out that relationship. Sure. And became friends for life. Thanks to mutual friends on the comedy scene, I had the pleasure of knowing this guy for a number of years and even shared airtime with him back on Alex Bennett's radio show. Richard Lewis was a beautiful bundle of angst. I don't know how else to put it. And he mined his neuroses and all these things that genuinely bedeviled him and turned them into the stuff of brilliant, self-lacerating stand-up comedy. And, he was on ABC's Anything But Love alongside Jamie Lee Curtis, now Oscar winner, and the very talented Ann Magnuson. That was about 4 seasons back in the 90s, I think. And he did some movie work, including some very affecting dramatic turns and the expected comedy stuff. He was just a lovely guy. And I know most people know him from Curb Your Enthusiasm or his Letterman visits, which were numerous.
Sure.
But he was cool, man. He had his emotional issues and disappointments in relationships and stuff until he met the one. And I was very happy that he coupled, and she has been like a rock to him for the past decades.
Michael Snyder with a very lovely tribute to Richard Lewis, including a couple of ding words, lacerated and I believe bedeviled. I will give him a...
Yeah, I sometimes... Go ahead. Did you know Richard at all? Had you met him?
I mean, I knew him, and I've talked to him. We would run into each other occasionally, but I didn't... I'm a fan. I think he's great. I think he... his stand-up was so... I just think it was, in a way, a cutting edge, I suppose, because that angst thing hadn't been done on stage that way. I mean, being a fan of stand-up, I love that he was able to plumb that for so much,
Right. His catchphrase was the blank from hell.
Right.
In other words, the girlfriend from hell being sort of the kind of archetype of that phrase.
And the idea of somebody who, again, it's a sympathetic character on stage because his life is... No matter what happens, let me tell you, oh, no, it was awful. What happened was, you're drawn to that kind of story automatically, right?
They're very confessional.
Confessional, but always with the downside. Let me tell you how I got screwed over. Let me tell you how this turned into a total horror show for me. That, you can't help but be... on some level transfixed by that.
What do they say? Comedy is tragedy plus time, right?
Yes.
So,
speaking of time, we are out of it. So let me just review what the great Culture Blaster has shared with us today. Arthur the King and Mark Wahlberg passed on it. The Neon Highway with Beau Bridges, he passed on it. French Girl rom-com with Zach Braff, he passed on it. An Irish Wish, the Netflix fantasy rom-com with Lindsay Lohan, he passed on that.
That's not all. Come on, I didn't just say no.
Meantime, he did go and attend the special screening of One Life, the Nicholas Winton story, the effort of one man to rescue as many children, most of them Jewish, as he could from Nazi occupation and most certain death in Nazi-occupied Europe. In this case, it was I believe it was the Czech Republic.
Czechoslovakia
in Prague.
This was in Prague, yeah. He saw it first.
Anthony Hopkins stars. I can't wait to see that movie. It's in theaters. The American Society of Magical Negroes, the Justice Smith offering. He plays Aaron, a biracial artist. Also David Alan Grier in this one. Michael really liked it. He didn't love it, but he certainly liked the message, and apparently there is a speech toward the end of the movie which is almost worth the price of admission. That is in theaters.
It's daring, and I liked it. I won't say really liked it. I really liked...
The Animal Kingdom was his pick of the litter this week. The actress from Blue is the Warmest Color is in it. It's a wonderful take on something that will likely land with many of our audience. The Animal Kingdom is in theaters.
And available on streaming, and also stars one of our friend Heather's absolute favorite actors, Romain Duris, the great French leading man.
Perhaps a quick word about Richard Lewis is what we got, and I thought it was more than quick, and it was deserving of more than quick. I thought you had very nice reflections on that. And so I'm giving you a certifiable and respected recorded applause.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you kindly.
There you go.
I love it. And boy, again, it was so great to meet and greet last night with numerous members of
people
the Mark
love
Thompson
you,
Show
Michael Snyder.
audience.
They love their Culture Blaster, and it was good to have you and part of the discussion. You're always welcome at any party that we have.
Thanks. Now I'm about to go do a little more electioneering, only this time with MAGA Mickey, who is my
MAGA Mickey is our favorite.
2024!
Yeah, I mean, again, one of a kind, but very special is MAGA Mickey.
All right.
Michael, of course, read in the Marina Times. You can find him knocking around San Francisco, the clubs. He comes and he goes on a rainbow. Michael Snyder, everybody.
Go Warriors, even in a futile effort.